Hello there, guys. I hope you're doing great, and welcome to the next episode of Space Mountain Rebuild. Yeah, finally I got it, and I didn't tell that this is Planet Coaster for whatever reason. So we are in episode 4 already, and in this episode, it's again a lot about just theming the tube which is going up the hill, and also in this episode, I'm going to start over with the roof part of the dome, and because I didn't just do anything with it since the first episode, and you will see me doing this quite from the middle part of this episode until the end. But just to mention before, I won't be doing such a long commentary on this one, basically just because I've talked a lot of stuff about a lot of stuff in the last episode regarding the building system, regarding the tube in general, and I just wanted to take the opportunity in this episode to tell some general things about the project, which I haven't done in the last episodes too much. I just was so much into detail with some stuff, but I just wanted to take this opportunity because at the moment, I was at the stage which you can see in this video. I was kind of starting to see that it was really going really well. So it might sound strange at this point because I didn't have the idea to recreate this thing entirely one by one. I already mentioned that in episode 1 that I was how to put that in words, that I was about to have some compromises going on, and I was pretty aware of the fact that Planet Coaster does have some restrictions I couldn't come over. And at this point in time, and just as you can see in the background right now, I started to realize, well, there are just some minor compromises you have to take, and the overall look and feel of the coaster it's possible to redo this one by one. I just think that it works out pretty well in the end, and I don't want to say that I'm happy with it, because I do always see that there is something I could do better about it. For example, it's really messy over here with how the stars do fit in, and as you can see again over here, I had to move them all in step by step because I just couldn't select all and move them. Anyway, I just don't want to talk about this bug any longer. And I also had to do some compromises over here, but I just started to realize that I don't have to do everything in just like the exact same sizes and proportions. Like this wheel over here, which is obviously the wheel you would need to adjust the height of the tube to use the cannon in the way you want to use it, and to shoot the coaster onto the target you really want to shoot, and in this case to shoot it into the space. But what I wanted to point out is that I'm starting to realize at this stage that this coaster and this project can really be what it was intended to be. And this is maybe something really important I haven't done too much before. So first of all, I do love everything which is going on in the workshop of Planet Coaster, and I do love the amount of patience and the amount of creativity that many people do put in their coasters. But what I've seen in the workshop as well, and as I said, I don't want to be rude to anybody, or I don't want to be judging it too much, but I haven't seen one single recreation that gave me the feeling to be actually there. Like really, that this is it, it's it. I've been there, I can recognize this, and it's not about just being completely perfect by every inch of the coaster or stuff like this. It's about the illusion, it's about the overall look and feel, and it's about the first glance, like the first go with your eyes on it, like the first second you do spot the thing and you just think, oh yeah, that's it. And I haven't had this with one single thing. I know that there are a few work in progress at the moment, maybe already released when this video is out. I don't know how quick they are, but I've seen some screenshots, some stuff on Reddit, some stuff over different places of the internet. It's the internet is big, and you can see it everywhere. And I mean, like, I've seen some good projects, and which I do like already, and I'm looking so much forward to see them finish those projects. But yeah, and this is the point which I wanted to just mention right now. So the task I put myself now was to recreate Space Mountain in a way that I am personally be happy with it as a recreation. That I really can say, okay, you know what, I'm flying through with it with the camera and I could really tell, yeah, that's the real thing. And that's maybe also the point where I just should have realized in the first go that this isn't a project to be made in just 1 week, and it's also not a project to be made in 2 weeks. Well, it could be made in 2 weeks if you wouldn't need to work and you wouldn't need to eat and you wouldn't need to pee and you wouldn't need to sleep. Then it might be doable in 2 weeks. I'm just kidding, but you know, it's to make something look really great in Planet Coaster, you do need time, and anybody else who is going to tell you something different is going to be lying, because it's, you know, creativity is such a thing which is there or is not there. It's full stop. I don't want to tell you you can learn it. You can to a certain extent learn creativity, but some of those things are just God given, and this is something I want to judge now really from an objective point of view. It's you know, I don't want to make myself better or maybe somebody else or stuff like this. It's just about people do have different talents, and some people are creative and some people are really good in organizational stuff, which I am, for example, absolutely not. I'm bad at this kind of stuff. I'm also bad at projects that do take too long and stuff like this. But that's not the point. I didn't want to talk about talents or stuff like this. I just wanted to say that no matter if you're good or not in Planet Coaster, to make something look great, you need time, a lot of time. And I do appreciate every work where I can see that some time has been put in. And although I might just say, okay, I could have maybe done this better, you know, I can really say I'm really in love with the project. Although I might see it could be done better or in another way, I really do love the work of other people where I can see, yeah, they put some passion in it, they put some time in it, and yeah. And this is what I wanted to say. All those recreations I've seen so far, they don't seem to me like people have been putting too much passion in it. And it was kind of just roughly done, put together with workshop assets in a few minutes, and then just released it to get the name out. And you know, I have to say how I think about it, because I give a shit on just being positive all the time. People are not positive all the time, and so this is also my point of view, and I stand behind my point of view, and I just didn't like those recreations, and so my goal was to make a real creation of Space Mountain, which I am happy with. And I'm pretty sure there will be people that find few things that they don't like. I do also find some things which I don't like. But anyway, this was just something to explain. I needed to explain so you know what was the original idea, because this is something also, the Space Mountain project is a little bit different from what I've been doing recently on Planet Coaster, and it's also different from what I will be doing in the future as well with Planet Coaster, because it's something recreation I did at the beginning to get used to the game, and it was always, and I always knew it was just something to get used to the game. And once I felt comfortable with it, I started doing my own stuff, and I will continue doing my own stuff. Of course I will get some inspiration from real life stuff, but in the end what I want to do is my own stuff. And yeah, so this is just one single project, and I might do some more projects in the future, but maybe not as big as this one, and maybe not that often. So that's just something to mention, and this is why I put so much time into it and so much effort to create something which I'm really happy with in the end. I could just start to talk about this for hours now, and please, if there is somebody out there who felt for whatever reason kind of offended now, don't take this personally. I do appreciate everything in the workshop, because I do like everyone who's playing the game. I love the game, and I love that the game is supported by players, and I love that it's sold so many times, and I think Frontier really deserves all this. So don't get me wrong on this, and I think that even though I'm not happy with the stuff, people might have put some more love in it than I just can see. But anyway, it's my personal opinion of this, and this is why I was just making the Space Mountain. That's basically the reason, and yeah, please don't feel offended by this. In general, I do appreciate every work which has been out there, but it's just personal thing for me to make something if I'm going to do a recreation, I want to do it in a way that I'm happy with it in the end. Full stop. Nothing more to say about this, because now we are going into a part of the video which I really do like, because it's the roof part of Space Mountain, which is something which might be the most important most important part of the entire game. No, sorry, again I messed up. I don't know why I do have things in my head, in my mind, which every now and then just pop out, and I just don't know why. But what I wanted to say is that the roof part of Space Mountain is maybe one of the most important thing of the entire build, because as I said, Space Mountain is a weenie, and as a weenie it's the highest part of the thing, which is also most important, because this is the part which can be seen from every spot of the park. And this is also why it was so important to get in with something on the roof which is really looking like the real thing. And that's also where it starts to get really difficult, because as I said, the art shapes, the simple art shapes, don't have so many different sizes as you would need to make it really accurately. And which I also came across, which problem I came across, is that I needed to make those rings, which you will see in just a few seconds, going around this kind of little tower I've built over here. And they are, in the real life, there are 3 rings going up, which are slightly different sized, and which get a little bit smaller and bigger upwards. And I just couldn't do this because there was no option to build a ring which was thin enough to make it look good from far away, and which was also big enough to at least have a little bit of color in it so that you can really recognize the color. So you will see me now just looking for pieces I could use to make this ring. And first of all, I just was figuring out how tall and how big it has, how big the ring has to be. And you can see me now grabbing a few pieces until I finally come up with the piece I could use. And as you can see, this is all not working well, because this one over here, for example, it's just too big. It's too wide. But the overall size of it was nice, so I just took this one as an inspiration, and then I come across this little Christmas piece which I could use, and I just built this ring without having angle snap turned on, to create a really, it's not a perfect ring to be honest, but a good looking ring in the end, to make this look like really the ring which could be used over on top of the dome. And I figured just it doesn't need to be exactly like completely perfectly round, because from far away you can't even see, but it had the perfect shape for me. It had the perfect thickness, and it has also a good color which is reflective and which is a little bit glossy. And this is also something which I wanted to make sure, because the real world one is really glowing in the dark, and so I came up with those lights and put them in, as you can see now. And this is also sometimes I'm going with my builds and build the whole thing and then start off with lighting in the end. And I actually wanted to do this now within the go of building, just to make sure that it's really looking good. And I also started to put in those lights. I wanted to go for these fairy lights, but I couldn't, because you can't trigger them. So the idea now was to have lights and trigger them later on, because when the coaster is going upwards, in the real world, you do see when it's dark in Disneyland, you can see how the lights of the coaster trains are going further on this ramp over here, so that it's creating the illusion as if the train would go up into the space without being seen. So it's like disappearing, but you can see where it's leading. And this is something I did here over with those lights, and you can now see how it works in the end. I don't know if you can see it in this video, because it's a little bit fast maybe. And I also wanted to make this effect, which is, I guess, not turned on always. When I was writing the thing, and I've written it like for 10 times or so, I just once had was lucky enough to see those smoggy effects. Was it like this going on? Because what actually happens is when the train passes, you can see like the little explosion of the cannon which is shooting. But I think it's not always activated. I'm not sure about it. Maybe I've just not seen it in the park. Maybe somebody who's more often there can tell me if this is correct or not. But I think it's shooting I think it's not always shooting, because there's also an animation which I can't do. The tube which is around the open area down there where the fog is coming out is also moving backwards when the coaster is going out, like it's backfiring a little bit. I can't do this, and I also didn't try to do it with something because I just knew that it wouldn't be possible. So yeah, that's basically it. And yeah, as you can see now, I'm already going into detailing a little bit more on the roof, like these little support tiles on the left and on the right. Which I actually don't know why they're in, but this is the end of this episode, and I hope you enjoyed, and I hope we will hear each other in the next one. So stay safe, guys, and have a nice evening or morning or whatever your time is at the moment. See you then, and bye bye, guys.